Welcome to Break Free to Brilliance podcast, empowering women in business through thought-provoking interviews and insights. Embrace your authentic power, explore the impact of your story, and discover how writing your best-selling book can amplify your message, authority, and the 3 I's: impact, influence, and income. Let each episode guide you towards brilliance in minutes. This is your host, Seema Giri. We're going to get started with our very first speaker, and that is Dr. Martina.
Hi
How
Seema, hi
are
everyone.
you? So happy to see you here. Thank you so much for joining us. You are joining us all the way from Slovenia.
Yes, I am. I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
It's so wonderful to have you here. So, Dr. Martina, let's just dive right in. Can you tell me, what is your story? How did you get to where you are today? Why did you start your business?
It's been a 15 years long journey, really. It started when I discovered that in my job, I wasn't quite fulfilled. And I had this feeling that if I stayed there within a year, I would be depressed and I had to do something about it. And so I went to 2 publishing seminars in New York City. It was the middle of the worldwide recession, but in a few months later, I quit my job. I started my business. A month later, I also enrolled in my Ph.D. program. So I don't know who is crazy enough to do that. And certainly, if I knew what lied ahead, maybe I would have been a little more cautious. But I'm actually glad it worked out that way because I jumped right in and I had to make it work, and I learned so much in the process. So it's been a journey where I realized that what is needed to succeed is a holistic approach with inner and outer strategies of success, and that it's really a leadership game because how you show up, who you are, how you think, your mindset, and the decisions you make daily affect everything else. So there's a zillion ways to make money, but it starts with us being, being willing to do whatever it takes to get ourselves in that position of making the right decisions and taking the right action fast.
That's very interesting. Yes. So I understand the the you had your doctorate, the field that you got your doctorate in. Can you share what that is? Because I think you're the first woman in Slovenia to have a degree, a PhD in that field.
Yes, it's international space law. It's a very up and coming field in the sense that yes, it's already blooming a lot with space tourism coming up, and of course there's been decades of satellite related advancements, but it's gonna blow up in the next 10-20 years time, and it's relatively unique in the sense that maybe there are less specialists in this area compared to other legal disciplines, but it's like it's the sister or brother of the international maritime law. It falls under international public law, so the UN conventions are the rule here. So it's a very fascinating field.
Interesting. That is, I've never heard of that before, so that was quite fascinating. Congratulations to you for that.
Thank you.
So another interesting thing you said is that you have to really make a change in your mindset, your inner work. You have to do the inner work in order for you to achieve the things you want externally. What what was that one thing, if you could share in more detail, that made you realize that that's where you had to start?
Well, I'm not sure I can pinpoint one specific thing. There's no magic bullet, I believe. It's a series of events. It's a series of trainings and lessons and realizations and hardship and all sorts of things, right? Because
Okay.
it's a combination of things. But what really helps in that department, I feel, is that you you choose the target and then you never give up. You just you shift, you pivot, you change the ways in which you approach getting there. You find new paths if the one that you initially started with didn't work out, but you never quit. So that's the main thing. And then in the process, you learn and you grow and you get tougher, and at the same time more empathetic towards your audience and yourself. And so it's like an overall kind of like skyrocketing and a growth trajectory.
Interesting. That's sometimes you're right. Sometimes it's just a series of life events that leads us to that, and sometimes we have this one defining moment that we realize, oh, this is it. So, Martina, can you tell me, in today's time, what do you feel, where is it that women struggle the most when it comes to really thriving in their business?
I feel from the work that I've been doing with my clients is that they don't have a strategy, they don't have a system. They do things randomly. They do business day by day and trying to keep things afloat without like something that would really help them grow and at the same time generate income daily. So it's always a combination of different activities that need to go hand in hand, I feel. And most of the people that struggle have focused too much on one specific thing, and sooner or later they pay the price. So either they are lacking in the leadership department and they are basically their own biggest enemy and they're the biggest bottleneck in their business, or they haven't focused on creating new opportunities and list building and building their pipeline with potential clients. So there's nothing new going on and no new people to talk to. There might not have been focused enough on income generation. So then the cash flow becomes an issue, or they haven't quite created a strategy on how to grow and how to develop their business further so that they're not always on a groundhog day. So it's one of those things. So when they have all these four pillars in place, plus they focus on the right things in their business for that particular moment in time, which is what I call phases. These are all parts of my 4x4 method, the four pillars and the four phases. Then it's where they become productive and efficient, and they stop spinning around and wondering why nothing works. It's basically because they need to stop throwing spaghettis at the wall and seeing what sticks at some point, and actually simplify the business model, make it more potent, and really focus and go deep on a few client generating mechanisms that then create consistent results. And so that stops the roller coaster.
True, I do understand that because, as I was saying earlier, we become entrepreneurs or we become coaches or consultants because we have this one skill set, our talent. And then we have this rude awakening that, oh, I need to know how to market. Need to know how to do lead generation. I need to know the tech stuff. And you become jack of all trades and master of none except for one key area, and becomes really frustrating. But you said something that I found really interesting. You said women become their own worst enemy. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, there's a lot of sabotage that can potentially go on until you really focus on developing your leadership, your mindset, the way you show up, how you see yourself, how you see business, money, sales, success, all of the things. And it shows up in your results. It shows up in how your days are structured. Like you can look at what's currently going on in your life and in your business and you can recognize the patterns that have contributed to get you there. And this is where that's the starting point where you begin to shift things around if you're not happy with the results. So it's a combination of limiting beliefs, of negative self-talk, of the fact that you're not delegating enough, or that you let minor things like technology, for example, stop you from getting ahead with a big project that can actually skyrocket you to a whole new level. So it shows up in various different ways. It really depends on the person, because we are all unique. But if there was really no way to fail, and I don't believe in failure, you fail only when you quit, right? If there was always a really great chance to succeed, to make it work, which there is, and you can go into whatever it is that needs to happen with that type of mindset and that type of attitude. How would your days and weeks be different? How would you make different decisions? Like, we need to step into the identity of the person who's already creating the results that we want. Because if we don't, if we stay within the same identity that created our current reality, nothing will ever shift, right? So that is where a lot of people stop themselves, because they kind of keep spinning in place, wanting different results, but doing nothing different. They don't even think differently, let alone take different actions. And we know that the same actions lead to the same or worse results. So we need to change things up. We need to pivot, and that takes courage. It takes bravery. It takes vision. It takes strategy. It takes so much from us that, like, obviously it's much more comfortable to stay within the comfort zone and do nothing about it, but that's not a recipe for growth. So it's about having that conversation with yourself and really, really looking yourself in the eyes and say, you know what, like, I need to make a decision. Where do I want to take my business and my life from now on? Because life is now. There's urgency. I don't know if I have another day, right? Like, I have today. Today is where
Right.
everything happens.
Yes, and I think especially when you're starting out and you're still trying to figure things out, I feel that it's hard to make decisions because you don't know. You want to make, like for me, for example, when I started, I wanted to make the perfect decision. I was so afraid of taking a decision and making the wrong decision that I would delay everything, and then it would get too late for certain things. And I feel like I was always um, starting over, and I felt like I was on a hamster wheel. Then I realized that if I don't start making decisions, there's no, starting point, and I can't go in a particular direction, right? And if I make a wrong decision, this was a game changer for me. And it's so simple. Martina, it's so simple. It's like I consider myself a really intelligent person. And it's like, why did I not realize this earlier? I realized that if I make a wrong decision, I can make another decision to change that. You can always make another decision to rectify, to course correct, but not taking any action is not good. So taking a wrong decision is still better than taking no decision at all. Do you agree?
Absolutely. We just need to be in motion, and then we can pivot however is necessary. So if it's not a life or death decision, it should be made really quickly and then implemented on really quickly as well, because it's not just about making a decision. It's about what do you do with it? And like, if you don't move fast enough, life passes you by, opportunities pass you by, and it just doesn't work. So there needs to be a certain level of urgency in how we show up, and it shows in how we talk, in how we move, in like literally everything, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. We know that at this point. And so, like, I can hear it in the voice of a potential client if they have the urgency and they will make it happen or not. And we can always shift that. We can always awaken that part of ourselves. It's a thought skill at the end of the day, and it's part of our vision and really the decision to step into that identity that I talked about. But it's without this, like there's nothing. If you don't put energy into your business, into your life, if you don't focus on the right things at the right time and really, really go after it, like there's no tomorrow.
Yes.
The results won't change. You need momentum. You need momentum if you want to make money, if you want to be magnetic to your ideal clients, if you want to be magnetic to your ideal promo partners and strategic partnerships, and so on. So it takes a certain level of leadership and of power, of personal potency to create results.
I 100% agree. And I love what you said. Step into the identity of who you want to be. So step into that future person and start behaving today how that person would be. They would be confident and portraying that even though they're nervous. They would be stepping in, taking action with courage, even though they're scared, right? And the biggest thing is that you don't have to do this alone, right? You don't have to do this alone. You can join communities of other like-minded people. You can hire coaches. You can, and also create as you're creating your own community, you can do that. I think, do you feel, Martina, that women are afraid to ask for help? They feel like they have to do it all themselves and they don't, and they finally, once they get to the frustrating level, then they start reaching out and asking for help?
Yeah, some do for sure. And we don't know what we don't know. We have our own blind spots. And so sometimes, like, then that makes us very arrogant in thinking that we can solve everything ourselves. And we also are not connected with the opportunity costs of that, because like within that same time frame, with that energy that we choose to invest in solving something we are not an expert in, like we could have made so much more income and impact and enjoyed it so much more if we only let others help you. So there's a lot of hiding out. But what I wanted to add, if I may, to your previous comment is that what really helps is to stop focusing on yourself and make your client your son. You need to be revolving around your client. You're in service. So if you don't feel like showing up live, it doesn't matter, because your audience needs you and you're there for them. I remember a time when I was in the process of divorcing, and it wasn't my choice. It was extremely painful. It was probably the hardest experience of my life. But I still showed up live for my free courses on Facebook at that time, because I knew that that is what my business needed, that is what my potential clients needed. And for that hour every day while the course was going on, I would show up and I would serve with all of my heart, and I left everything on the field. And then the live was off and I could go back to crying if I wanted to. But for that hour, I was in service and I didn't matter. And so I find it like if we have that kind of heart shift, right? So we stop obsessing over ourselves and start serving more, like literally serving, and thinking about the impact that we can make with whatever it is that we choose to focus on, to communicate, to create connection, to really give people value. Because as generous leaders, we give first, right? We lead by giving. That is when everything shifts. So like I see so much egoistic attitudes in people who struggle, because it's all about them. I'm not ready to go live. I'm not ready to this. I need to get my website on first. Like there's me all the time, right? And I don't hear anything about, oh, there's this person that needs me right now out there that can benefit from what I can bring to the table. Like there's no discussion on that. And so no wonder results are not there. So if you take a look at everybody who's successful, they are generous givers. They are leaders. They show up because there are audiences who can soak up their wisdom, even if they don't feel like it. because it's not about how you feel like it in the moment. And if you're capable of managing your emotions like that, you can manage your days, you can focus on what needs to happen, you can get things done, and you can be incredibly successful way sooner than you think.
Yes, and you've made some really great points. You said that it's not about you. It's right. It's about your tribe. It's about the people you're serving. And I feel that takes the pressure off of you too, because I think we're always getting ready to be perfect and then we're going to step forward. We need to make ourselves, our skills really 100% perfect and then we're going to do something. We need to learn the tool perfectly and then we're going to do something. And that's not it. You're perfect as you are right now. If the thought has come into your mind, and the thought has come into your mind of being in service to others through running your business, through coaching, through being a solopreneur, that means you're ready. Otherwise, that thought wouldn't have come to you. And you need to step forward. So I think that really takes a lot of pressure off that it's, I have to be perfect or I have to be, a certain way. You just need to be two steps ahead of your clients and show them the path and show them the way. And together, many times you figure things out too. So, yeah, so stop. I think the message that we're trying to give you is stop getting ready to get ready. You are ready just as you are. Just step forward and think about what your clients need. Think they're waiting for you. That is why I am doing this summit, because so many women need to hear this, that your tribe is waiting for you. And especially if you've stepped into business and you've stepped into because you've had some kind of a transformational experience, you've gone through this hardship, you've crossed that bridge to the other side. I believe it is your responsibility to step forward and help others and say, look, this is what I've done. It's not bragging and it's not showing off. It's about helping someone else save potentially 15 to 20 years of their life of struggle, where you can get them to the path they're supposed to be on. Because the more of us that step into our path, that our purpose-driven life, the better the world becomes, with one person at a time. And Dr. Martina, if there was one thing, one message you could give to women that are listening to you today, what would that be?
Put yourself on strategic stretches that are 90 or 100 days long and that are geared towards a project that will really propel you forward to a whole new level. There are 5 criteria that you want to be looking out for when you choose your project. So those are, it needs to build momentum. So you want a consistency to it. So something that happens every day for those 90 or 100 days. You want connection, so have a live element. You want monetization, so make sure that the project monetizes. There's a strategy behind it. You want longevity and having this be an asset. So think about that as well. So it's not a one-off. Never do a one-off thing. And then you also want leverage so that you can actually use it and spin it off in a lot of different ways so that it serves your audience and your business. So it's a win-win-win all around. And it will help you also get mentally tougher because it's something you commit to, you focus on it. And then, yes, there are those focus points in terms of pillars. There are knowing your phases. There's having a strategy for how you structure your offers so that you create both cash injections and monthly recurring revenue. And one thing that maybe is kind of like a highlight of all of that is host more events, go live, create different formats, and just do a lot of events online. We are so lucky to have this technology. It will create a lot of connection, and create connection is currency, and people will start signing up for conversations with you, and conversations create cash. That is where everything begins. And then you can go one to many with events, and it grows from there. So there's a lot to discuss, of course, and I'm happy to answer any questions and go deeper with people. But yeah, there is a way. Just know, trust yourself that you can do it. Get the help you need if that's the case, and enjoy the process. There is a way.
Great advice. And I believe you have a special gift for everyone here.
Yes, I do. It's the Daily Income Formulas. It's a 15-day mini audio series where I send you approximately 5 to 10 minute long audio clips each day with very specific actionable strategies on how to create cash flow daily. So making money every day in your business so that you don't have those zeros at the end of the day, and it creates a lot of momentum, and those clients start signing up for everything else you have as well.
Wonderful. Dr. Martina, thank you so much for your time, great wisdom and insights you gave. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Break Free to Brilliance podcast, and I hope you had some key takeaways that you can implement right away. Be sure to subscribe to Break Free to Brilliance wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also follow along with us on social media using the links in the show notes below. We'll see you again for the next episode.